Welcome to the Gruber Company's Artificial Future Podcast. I'm Pete Gruber. We do these podcasts every Wednesday morning. They started as an informal Sunday morning session between one of our social media guys and myself, Jesse, and it has really morphed into much more recently. We used to be able to collect information about artificial intelligence throughout the week, assemble a talking point list, and then do a podcast. These days, I've been collecting information this week and overnight. There is so much change in the AI landscape that the notion that this is an exponential progression is beginning to really take hold more than ever. We've got a number of news or new breaking items that came in just last night, actually, and we had to rearrange our list of talking points to accommodate all of these new things that are just being released within the last 24 hours. So that might be a great place to start. Instagram, if you're seeing a green screen, we have on our other platforms, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, definitely, a full section showing what's on the green screen, and we're going to be posting images. So until we solve our Instagram green screen problem, it's a streaming problem, feel free to join those other platforms and you can get the full experience. Also, any questions, feel free to ask them. Let us know where you're coming in from. It looks like Seth Love is joining us. He says, nice background picture. Thanks for prompting me to go into that next section. We actually ended up changing the background picture because of the breaking news items. And this particular background, of course, comes from AI. It's from DALL-E, which is now part of ChatGPT. And the prompt was, a futuristic scene showcasing the Tesla Optimus robots, artificial intelligence producing full commercials, and newly released AI anchors. Today's topics are going to be varied, but we thought we would start with some YouTube enhancements that just got released. They have added 5 new elements or 5 new AI features to YouTube. One of them is comment summaries. So you know how some of these influencers get literally tens of thousands of comments, and everyone knows that they really can't go through no matter how large their support staff is, so a lot of the information is lost. Well, now AI is going to help with that. It's going to provide comment summaries by organizing comments according to topics. So if you want to extract a certain type of response, it will now do a synopsis or an abbreviated version for you. It is also available on long-form videos, and it allows users to read and understand comments more easily. So both the creator of the video and the viewer can now avail themselves of this type of AI assistance with the comments. The second one that they're proud of is AI Video Creator. By typing in a simple prompt, you can create videos now in seconds. Well, we're fully aware of that. The amount of work that goes into creating a video is a lot of behind-the-scenes activity. And now AI is stepping up to the plate. What Jesse's showing here is a panda drinking coffee, and AI is generating. Tell us about it. What are you seeing over there?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty revolutionary stuff. I didn't know they were even working on this kind of stuff yet.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, it's simple text prompt, and it generates a video. I think all this stuff is still in beta, so we'll have to see if we can get access to it. Maybe we can do a little deeper dive.
Mm-hmm. Also, as part of this AI Video Creator feature that they've now added, this new Shorts feature allows you to create incredible images and videos with the help of AI. And then the third component under this second Video Creator option that they've added, the possibilities, they say, are limitless. The AI allows you to take your creations anywhere you desire. Then the third one that they've added to YouTube is a new YouTube chatbot. So you can now engage in conversations with AI. Ask and receive answers instantly. You can have it summarize your videos in seconds, and it's able to recommend similar content. So if you have a particular area of interest, it will search YouTube and recommend something that you're looking for. It looks like Niels is joining us from Denmark. Welcome. He said, what if YouTube made ads voluntary but charged for commenting? Would YouTube earn more or less? That was an interesting notion.
Yeah.
Because those ads can be annoying.
They've actually changed the ads recently too, where you, more often than not, you can't skip them anymore. So, but you can still pay, I think, $12 a month and get the premium, and you'll never see their ads, or you can just sit through the ads. But to have a platform like YouTube be free, I mean, that's what you have to do.
Yeah. And you're right. I did notice that instead of saying skip ad, it would now say your video or this ad ends in 12 seconds, and you don't have the option to
skip it
or skip it. Yeah.
But that actually is good for creators because it leads to more revenue generated, which means they get a bigger share. Well, not a bigger share, but they get a larger payout, because if you're doing the skippable ads and people just keep skipping them, you're not going to get a commission on those.
Oh, interesting. That's true. Yeah.
So it's helpful for creators. It's going to give YouTube more money. Not that they need more money, but who knows?
Well, they don't need more money. I probably agree with that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they're doing massive AI initiatives like this, and they're building out their own LLMs and their own AI tools, I mean, they do need money to expand, but I would imagine they have money.
Yeah, they do a pretty good job of reinvesting too, though. So.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the fourth item here that they have enhanced is YouTube Create. They say that this allows you to create and publish videos effortlessly with YouTube Create, using filters, effects, transitions, and a vast library of royalty-free music for captivating shorts or longer videos.
And if you see that on the video that's playing, once it restarts here in a second, this is basically a full AI editing assistant. And it's up at the top. I think it should restart here in just a second. Right there, it says free of charge. Mm-hmm. So these are all going to be free tools that are built in that allow you essentially you have music and audio, sound and scoring and transitions and all these effects done on a professional level completely for free.
And what is it we use for music right now?
We pay a subscription to Envato to get royalty music, but that royalty-free music, we still have to download it, put it into the video manually, adjust the audio levels to get it to work with your audio, right? So there's a lot of back-end work that has to go into it to make it sound the way that it sounds. This is going to do all of that for you. It's not only going to find the music, but it's going to input it, do all of the audio leveling, and export it all with just the click of a button.
And if I recall correctly, it's not 100% foolproof, and that once in a while we get copyright strikes, even though we followed the process.
Well, when you're using Envato or you're using royalty-free, we get copyright strikes almost every time, but we have to upload a license. So Envato gives us a license for each song. Once we upload that, the copyright hold is removed.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have the image resource banks like Getty Images, and you end up paying for those. I mean, nowadays it's free, basically, with a subscription to DALL-E, ChatGPT-4, Midjourney, and we'll talk about that later a bit too. How the need for graphic artists seems to have evaporated. Mm-hmm. And I'll give some examples of the type of work that AI can do, and do it infinitely quicker.
Yeah.
We usually outsource that sort of thing, and of course now you have multiple meetings over days and weeks, and then reviews and all of that. It speeds everything up. All right, so another new item that came out within the last 24 hours actually is a AI. They call it the first ever AI TV commercial featured in Japan, and it looks very realistic. So I think we're going to pop that video up. And the comment here was from someone that posted, things are really getting weird. And while we're getting that video up, Niels is saying, well, yeah, but Ad Blocker Ultimate plus Firefox still keeps up. On the web, the clients usually win. To skip ads, just add T equals 1S to the URL, or let the mouse hover over the video icon for a bit. I did not know that.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to come down to a preference thing too, though, because quite frankly, especially with how I've been searching the internet lately about AI, for example, a lot of the ads that I get are tailored to AI. So I've learned things from I'll see an ad.
They're curated to your interest.
Yeah, I'll see an ad for a new AI tool that I hadn't heard of. So I'm actually voluntarily watching ads more and more as the ad systems get better, as the AI improves for determining what I like.
Yeah, and again, it reinforces that AI is smart.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
All right. Japanese commercial.
This is the first all AI generated commercial that we've seen.
You know, the things I look for are, it's like the Turing test. Which are real people and which are AI generated. And up until this last 24 hours, and we've got some more to show you, by the way, it was, for me at least, it was easy to tell which was AI generated. Mm-hmm. And as we've said, AI is improving exponentially at this point. I kept looking at this and another video to see if I can tell. And you know what? I couldn't. The other video that we're going to show later is a news, Channel 1, actually.
The news anchors.
Yes, it's an AI news channel. And you have your AI talking heads, and then you have real people we're familiar with, like Zelensky, for example.
Yeah.
And you see them both talking, and the differences are indistinguishable now. And that was just, in a short period of time. But I
mean, look at that right there, that freeze frame.
Yeah.
It just looks like a real person.
It does. I mean, look at the lighting, look at the shadows.
Look at the hair. Look at
yeah. The strands of hair. And then the eyes. That was the other thing that I used to look for. The eyes just never looked human, totally human. But AI has improved tremendously. I don't even know what this is. It's in Japanese. It's probably a drink of some kind.
Some kind of juice
go.
drink.
Amazing. All right. So Tesla just introduced the Optimus Gen 2 robot. And some of you may have already seen the video. It was released, I think, last night. And what they say is, amongst the insanely smooth movement and sleek demo, the new Optimus has 30% walk speed boost and a whole lot more. Remember, they were kind of walking mechanically, and they weren't quite jogging or running yet, but even the walk, you could tell the gait was calculated, slow, and, in order to have the thing not tip over, basically. Well, this latest video, are we going to be able to pop that up, by the way? Okay, cool. And I'll read you some of the highlights of this particular article. There we go. So this is the Gen 1 robot, if you remember.
Mm-hmm. And if you notice that Gen 1 said March of this year, now we're in Gen 2.
Yeah, Gen 2.
2 months.
And take note of the hand movement. That's, I think, the most profound change that has occurred. And later on, you'll see where it picks up something, and I think Jesse's first comment here was, my God, that looks like a human hand in motion.
Yeah, the neck, the head, the hands, far beyond anything anyone else has, and far beyond. I mean, this is even well beyond Boston Dynamics, which they've been specializing in robots for 15 years or however long they've been doing it.
Oh, it's going to do a squat. There we go. Can you see one of these things at the gym outperforming you in every category?
At the gym?
Lifting weights?
Yeah. They could do that at Gen 1. I'm not a gym guy.
Do all your work for you, right? So there we have it. This is Tesla's improvements to Optimus. Now here's what the article goes on with, and what's new. So they introduced the Optimus Gen 2. It's a more advanced version of their humanoid robot, now with Tesla's designed actuators and sensors. It's faster and lighter. This new model is 30% faster and 10 kilograms lighter. And it even does squats, as you noticed. Hand upgrade. The hands are now strong enough to lift significant weights, yet delicate enough for precious tasks.
I'm going to play it again while you're talking. Oh, we missed this part. The dance party at the end. I mean, and this is, I've verified, that several people have verified with people at Tesla.
Yeah.
It's not CGI. The video is not sped up. This is actually the movement, which is just, it's such a significant jump from Gen 1 in March to now.
Yeah.
I don't know how, it's crazy.
How they've improved it to this level. Yeah, if you remember, the first robot that Elon had come out during one of the investor days was a human cloaked in a costume. And, then the second one, they had to prop it up because it would fall over.
Yep.
And, now we're getting to this level. And that was just in the span of, a year and a half or so?
A couple of years, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So can you imagine how this is going to continue to improve? Well, anyway, the article continues here. The background check. The initial skepticism, as they say, was the Tesla bot was seen as a half-baked idea with the dancer in the robot costume during that Investor Day presentation. In the early days, the prototypes could barely walk and wave, not a showstopper. Gaining credibility over time, Tesla showed off prototypes doing useful tasks. And then let's go into the tech talk. AI and robotics fusion. Tesla's expertise in AI, batteries, and electric motors fuels this innovation. Now, this is a very important concept because you have to remember that, Tesla, although starting very humble and small, currently numbers over 100,000 employees, some of which are engaged in this kind of technology. And, of course, they're able to borrow best practices from some of their other technical activities like the full self-driving, the cars, and the most recent dive into full self-driving, instead of using code-based rules, observing movement or driving habits from successful drivers. It almost indicates to me that these hand movements are much more about neural network type, insertion rather than code-based type of movements. And of course, this is a company that is well poised to continue to develop robots. Autonomous learning. They say Optimus is trained with neural nets and end-to-end tasks like sorting objects. Future plans. In-house use. Tesla aims to employ Optimus in their manufacturing operations soon.
Yep, and that's TikTok. Two Shades of Gary just asked that. Will Tesla use these to build cars? Mm-hmm. The answer is yes.
There's your answer. Niels chiming in. He says, key is voluntary. There could be an ad button that shows wares that have to do with the video content. That's a whole different way to do it. I know how to do it too, and Wikipedia is interested. There you go.
Nice.
Ramon Hurt. The head movement is cool. Yeah, it was kind of deliberate, a little bit clunky. But, what we just saw, that in 3 months, this is going to be like these commercials that we're now seeing, where it's going to be indistinguishable.
Well, watch the beginning part again, because the neck movement is not clunky.
Okay.
Watch when it starts moving its neck as it's looking around the room. Just pay attention to the neck here when it first shows the Gen 2.
Okay.
They've done some significant upgrades to the neck as well. See that?
Yes.
See that? Look at that. Look at the full range of motion of that. It's not clunky at all. It's smooth, completely smooth, looking around the room.
And then it's looking at its hands. There we go. That's the part I think that's going to improve tremendously.
Yeah, if you read Read Neil's comment up there.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Ramon Hurt says the head movement is cool. It is. And then Neil says the walking looks like somebody with a really bad back. Right, like an old man. Exactly. That was my take on it. To walk upright, hips must be flexible in every direction. Good point. And then TikTok, 2 Shades of Gray says, will Tesla use these? Yeah, they've already admitted that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the sales visions. Once proven useful, they say, Tesla plans to sell the robot. Elon Musk predicts a demand for billions of units. This was with a B, mind you, not millions. Billions of units.
Mm-hmm.
I guess if you combined one of these robots with every human, you're in the billions.
Yeah, I think if they're trying to replace all like labor workers, for example, in factories, one robot's going to be equal to 10 people easily, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Now, for those of you that are investors, all right, Tesla investors, here's Elon's big bet. Musk believes that Optimus will be the key contributor to Tesla's long-term value, expecting it to dominate the market. Now, he's fundamentally saying all these other guys like Boston Acoustics.
Dynamics. Yeah.
Oh, Boston Acoustics. I went back to my audio days just now. I've got a great set of speakers that were made by Boston Acoustics. Great things come out of Boston, I guess. But yeah, Boston Dynamics and many others that we've talked about on these podcasts. Will they be able to keep up with Tesla, I guess, is the fundamental question. There's some heavy funding that's necessary to continue development of products like this.
Yeah. Well, we talked about Amazon recently. They're already employing their type of robots in their factories.
Right. Later on. Yeah, we'll talk about the efficiencies of using a humanoid robot. Right now, in order for us to warm up with these things and have them coexist with us in the spaces that we live in, it's important to have some similar traits and characteristics. But why 2 arms? Why not 4? Why not 1? Why not a combination of arms? Heavy lifting, vacuum lifting, a variety of different things. It would probably spook the humans too badly, so... We'll have humanoid-looking robots for a while until we can warm up to this technology. All right, so here's the humor and sarcasm portion of this particular segment. From dance floor to factory floor, Optimus went from a dancing spectacle to potentially replacing your office intern. Musk's confidence. Elon Musk, in typical fashion, is not just optimistic, but optimustic about his robot army. And then finally, a robot in every home? ? Musk's sales forecast sounds like he's planning for a robot in every home and maybe even one for the dog. Niles is chiming in. Nils, did it again?
Niels,
yes. I'm going to put a big sign up there eventually. And humans bop up and down when walking. This takes power for the robot, so maybe they want to save on that. Yeah, good point. Ramon Hurt, Boston Dynamics robots are much larger. I'm amazed that Optimus moves so well and is so compact.
That's the thing that really just doesn't make sense unless they somehow just got really good talent and put a lot of money into it. But Boston Dynamics is one of the premier robotics labs in the world, funded very well. They have people coming direct from MIT, Caltech into that place.
And around much longer than, Tesla's attempts at
much longer,
robots. Yeah. Amazing how quickly they were able to catch up, though. All right, so here's a news item. This has to do with the protection of artistic works. Artists who want to share their artwork often face a tough choice. Keep it offline or post it on social media and risk having it used to train data-hungry AI image generators. But a new tool may soon be able to help artists deter AI companies from using their artwork without permission. It's called Nightshade, and it was developed by a team of researchers at the University of Chicago. It works, now get this, it works by poisoning an artist's creation by subtly changing the pixels of an image so that AI models aren't able to accurately determine what the image is depicting, according to MIT Tech Review. Now, while the human eye is not able to detect these small changes, They aim to cause a machine learning model to mislabel the picture as something other than what it is. And since these AI models rely on accurate data, this poisoning process would essentially render the image useless for the purposes of training. And if enough of these poisoned images, they say, are scraped from the web and used to train an AI image generator, the AI model itself may no longer be able to produce accurate images. There's a downside to this as well. For example, they said, researchers fed Stable Diffusion, which is an AI generator or an AI image generator. They created themselves 50 poisoned images of dogs and then asked this Stable Diffusion to generate new pictures of dogs. The generated images now featured animals with too many limbs or cartoonish faces that only somewhat resembled a dog. So it looks like the artists may have a tool to restrict AI plagiarizing their work. All right, we've got an image here we can pop up, Jesse. It is called, probably underwater. Let me get back to it. Remove water. All right. They're now using AI to clear up images underwater. The one on the left, of course, is what you would see when you're scuba diving or snorkeling, for that matter. And typically, things are blurry and not quite visible. What AI is able to do, and this is a boon for marine biologists to archaeologists, is to render it back to true colors. And there's an algorithm, apparently, that they've developed that understands what water conditions are doing to the light. And by working backwards, it reverses those conditions. The end result is if the water was never there. And there are more before and after images, by the way. And I think our image gives you the link at the bottom. No, it does not. All right. Any of you interested? freethink.com/hard-tech underwater photography / again. And then you can see some other examples of this. All right. Brooklyn Staten from TikTok says, what's the story with the sunglasses? That is a very popular question that comes through continuously in any Gruber video productions or podcast. And we're not willing to tell yet. There's a coolness factor. There was another viewer that popped up the other day. No, actually, it was AI. You remember when we posted a picture? It was a thumbnail with us in our sunglasses, and the description from AI said that it has a casual, laid-back vibe with the sunglasses.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But there is a video that will eventually be released that will tell all. It will be an expose, and the purpose and reason behind these sunglasses will be revealed. And it will be a combination of things. But in the meantime, just consider us like a Blues Brothers movie or rock stars who often wear sunglasses, or even movie stars for that matter. Seth Love says, the processing power, I feel, is the main key for all AI and robotics. You know, it is amazing when you think about it, the amount of computing that is necessary to have an Optimus actually maneuver, walk, and go through all of its functions. The degree of miniaturization in computers, of course, is what is responsible for the ability to do that. Neil says, Boston Dynamics is owned by Hyundai, the Koreans. Oh, I did not know that. Very cool.
Yeah. They bought it a few years ago. It was owned by Google for a lot of years, too.
All right, we've got a picture to pop up here. Cyborg is what it's called. What you're about to see is a gentleman called Neil Harbison. And he is, according to this article, the world's first official cyborg, first recognized cyborg. He has an antenna implanted in the back of his skull. This antenna was implanted in 2004 and dubbed as the iBorg, and it's considered part of his skeleton. It also appears now in his official UK passport photograph. Initially, the authorities refused to allow the photo, but eventually accepted it after conceding that Neil was officially part human and part technology. Now, Neil was born with a rare form of color blindness, rendering him unable to perceive any colors other than black and white. His eyeborg is a flexible antenna with a fiber optic sensor at the tip, which allows him to not see colors, but to hear color via bone conduction. In other words, there's some vibration that takes place in his head when different colors come through this sensor on the tip of this cyborg part. And it converts light waves into sound waves and transmits them as audible vibrations into his skull. Now get this, it is also Wi-Fi and Bluetooth enabled, which allows Neil to receive images, videos, music, or even phone calls directly into his head from the external device, such as mobile phones or satellites. Now, we talk continuously about augmentation, implants, becoming more cyborg-like with exoskeletons. And so anyway, Neil is one of the first ones. In addition to detecting now the entire visible color spectrum, his eyeborg picks up light waves and ultra-high low frequencies, meaning that he can also see or sense ultraviolet light and infrared light. We've talked about this endlessly. Yeah. Vision is fairly narrow. There are life forms on this planet that can see beyond the human visible spectrum. Insects, for example, that can see infrared. Ultraviolet. So Neil is already able to do that with an augmentation. The color red, he says, creates low notes, while purple and other upper end spectrum colors create high notes. Now, Neil says infrared is his favorite color. He describes the sound as serene. By contrast, he says the high-pitched and very irritating ultraviolet is his least favorite color. Now, Neil's eyeborg is always on, and he's unable to turn it off, meaning that he's constantly receiving audible vibrations in his head. Well, you might say, could that be intrusive, annoying? Well, he says, remember, just like smell, we're always smelling, we're always hearing, and we're always tasting. So it's not really that much different from the other senses that we have in the human body. Now, the only way to stop it, he says, is to cover the sensor, which Neil likens to blocking your nose or closing your eyes. He emphasizes that his sixth sense is distinctly different to his sense of hearing. It does not interfere with hearing ability when he's, for example, having a conversation or watching TV. So this bone transfer of vibration apparently does not have anything to do with his ears, or at least interfere with it. He says it's different, this sensory input that he's getting from the eyeborg, because the sound comes from outside, whereas colors come from inside. It's different, and it doesn't clash. Now, he said that he truly began feeling like a cyborg when he started hearing colors in his dreams around 3 months after getting the implant.
In his dreams?
In his dreams. So there's a philosophical question there. How is the dream state communicating with his eyeborg?
Yeah, we don't... That's something we don't even really understand yet, dreams.
Yeah.
Not on a complete level yet.
He says, as an artist, he began producing artworks from the colors that he saw in popular music pieces, as well as making audible sound portraits of people's faces, including several celebrities. He says each face has its own peculiarity. Some faces are rhythmic because of the frequencies of the color is very close to each other, and this creates a rhythm. And other sources are harmonic. King Charles, he says, sounds like a major chord. It sounds harmonious. Marina Abramovich sounds rhythmic. Her frequencies are very close to each other. Al Pacino has infrared, and this is one unusual thing that he sensed. Judi Dench has silent hair. Anyway, it's just fascinating, I think, as a pioneer, as we get these augmentations, the things that that's going to reveal. And, of course, some of it will be personalized experiences and interpretations. But it's going to open up a whole new world for sure. He also says that he uses his iBorg to solve a Rubik's Cube. Now, remember, Neil is colorblind. He can't see the colors on a Rubik's Cube. He says, I'm slow, but I can do it through sound. Each face has a different note, so it's a musical cube. So picture this, instead of a visual Rubik's Cube, he's actually hearing notes on each of the little squares. And that allows him to complete a Rubik's Cube process.
That's crazy.
All right. So another interesting thing here. Neil's iBorg isn't his only technological implant. He also has a Bluetooth-enabled tooth implant. I didn't know they were making those yet, which is paired with an identical one in the mouth of a fellow cyborg artist, Moon Rebus, friend of his, apparently. He says when pressure is applied, the implant emits a signal which causes the other implant to vibrate, which allows Neil and Moon to communicate using Morse code.
Wow.
Neil also has an implant in his knee which senses north. It's like a compass. When he faces north, he feels subtle pressure on the knee. Right, so there's room for a whole bunch of discussion there. What other implants could we utilize, put in our bodies, and how could we use them? So Ramon says, so this guy's got his implanted because he's colorblind. That is correct, yes. That's what started this whole process for him. And those of you interested, there's a whole fringe movement of implants. The medical society does not yet tolerate too much of this type of activity. So a lot of these implants are being done in garages and oftentimes performed by registered nurses or maybe even not. One of the most popular places, by the way, to do an implant, and I just watched a video on this recently, is this portion between your forefinger and your thumb, the soft, fleshy portion here. They're actually able to, through a large needle, implant certain types of implants there. One person on YouTube, by the way, and this one's worth watching, I suppose, can open his car with his hand, proximity even.
And people do with their credit card, too.
That's the other one. Yes, credit card. Wow, interesting stuff. Okay, so this is Neil, and let me give you the last name again for those of you interested in getting more information about this. Okay, here we go. Neil Harbisson with 2 S's, Harbisson. And he apparently has been officially documented as the world's first cyborg. And let me see if there's a bit more information about that. There is a Cyborg Foundation and Transspecies Society. He is recognized as the world's first cyborg and also co-founded the Cyborg Foundation in 2010, which he describes as a platform to help people become cyborgs. He said that we put people in contact so they can start teams to create new organs, and we also defend cyborgs as a cultural group. Now, there's a whole nother cultural group that needs some protection, it sounds like. We also defend cyborg rights, which is the right, for example, to be free to decide which organs or sensors you want to implant. So it's morphological freedom, defending the right that these implants should be considered organs and not devices. A lot of hurdles, he says, around this. Cyborg surgeries, oftentimes in various countries, must be approved by a bioethical committee before they can be performed. And the bioethical committees don't approve them because they're deemed unnecessary. So we've got regulatory agencies weighing in as to what you can and can't do. So he does add, though, it's hard to find bioethical committees that will accept surgery. So most of these surgeries have been done by anonymous doctors.
Ramon Hurt says, "Stop oppressing those cyborgs." That's great.
You know, I can just see, rallies and marching down Main Street and cyborgs with various mechanical devices implanted or even visible.
I have a question for you, Pete, because you had mentioned before they're doing these in garages, right?
Yeah.
What do you, especially with the Tesla bot, if that improves to the point where it can do surgery, for example? I know that there are actual surgical robots right now. They're not anything like the Tesla bot, obviously, but there are robots that are used in a surgical setting for certain procedures. Soon, or let's go even further to where if you want to do it in a garage, what happens when augmented reality gets to the point where you put on your glasses and it instructs you through augmented reality step by step how to install whatever augmentation you want to install? So you'll have this person that's essentially a garage surgeon installing these things in people, but he's doing it with augmented reality and having great success. I think that could be a real future on the way.
Well, totally. The other thing to consider here, we're still humanizing, robots and cyborgs. Of course, cyborg would have to be human, but robots definitely not. So think about the limitations that a surgeon has. These digits that we have are fairly large for certain surgical procedures, right?
Yeah.
So the augmentation is you have a large, wand or a scalpel or something else. You could even sharpen, I suppose, on a robot and have a scalpel built in.
Sure.
So the whole notion of trying to adapt humans to be more effective for surgery is short-lived, in my opinion. Eventually, we'll have nanobots that will course through your circulatory systems, whether it's your cardio system or whatever, and pinpoint the origin of the disease, and then through micro devices, either excise, identify, do images, or come up with a solution. In other words, I think that the human involvement in surgery is short-lived. I think that robots will be doing that eventually, and far more accurately, far more, efficiently and safely for the human host who is getting the surgery.
Yeah, having a swarm of bots inside you doesn't sound great, but if it keeps you perfectly healthy, I mean,
identifies the source of the cancer and where it may have migrated. Oh, there are some obvious benefits. And I'll go on record again. I will be a implant candidate. I'm looking forward to having a device implanted in my body that gives me external information about what's going on inside. What are my salt levels, sugar levels, blood pressure, which a lot of which we already have if you think about it. But having something inside the body would definitely be more revealing.
Pair that with an AI chef who knows exactly what you need at your dinner time, and it makes you a meal that has all of the different things that you need to get all your levels right.
Oh, you nailed it. You nailed it. We're talking future now. And this is, again, the bright future. This
isn't that far off, though. I really don't think it's that far off.
No, with AI improving exponentially, yeah, you're right. I think it's our lifetime.
Yeah.
And of course, when you say lifetime, maybe that is an incorrect notion as well, because we may reach immortality within our lifetime. It's kind of an oxymoron, isn't it? All right, Ramon Hurt. So, we covered that already. Neil says, dreams are likely just compressed backup from RAM, short-term memory, to disk, long-term, that we experience when waking up. A garbage stream, but with uncompressed bits and pieces. I agree. Ramon Hurt, the future seems bleak, B-L-E-E-K. And that's exactly what happened, Ramon says, in the game Cyberpunk 2077. Somebody asked me this morning, actually, did I see a particular movie? I'm not much of a movie watcher, goer. I don't watch TV much, so my pop culture, knowledge is pretty poor. But that's a movie I have not seen.
Well, this one's a video game, I think.
Oh, it is a video game?
Yeah, it says a game.
There's another one that I'm completely unaware of. Although my kids, different story. They eat, live, and breathe video games, much to my displeasure at times. All right. So robotic suits. Let's bring up exoskeleton -2. Here's where I asked. Oh, wait a minute. We've got. Okay, Neil's just chimed in. He says, dreams are fast, too. A guy experienced the French Revolution until he ended at the guillotine. He woke up because the picture at his bed fell down and hit him in the head. Okay. A little humor inserted there. Thank you, Niels.
You want exoskeleton, you said?
Yeah, let's go exoskeleton 1, by the way. Let's start with that then, and then we'll go to 2.
Oh, hold on.
So, this is something that a German company apparently has been working on. And what we're seeing here is the Amazon warehouse-style robots. But there's a German company called German Bionic. There we go. And they make robotic suits that supercharge human workers. Specialized suits powered by AI to boost human strength, essentially. Part human, but part robot in all business. This new wearable robotic suit, they say, can boost human strength. It's powered by AI, and it takes human augmentation to brand new levels. What robot? German Bionic announced an exoskeleton called C-Ray X with a plethora of features, which includes assisted walking. Now, get this. We're talking about people in wheelchairs, paraplegics, for example, with an exoskeleton that can now begin to maneuver. Waterproofing and an updated energy management system are some of the features that were listed in this article. This AI-based system can send alerts to users regarding ergonomics and safety. Not only does the exoskeleton give users a power boost, but it has a brain too, called a Smart Safety Companion. It is an AI-based system that can send alerts to users regarding safety issues in the workplace or things going on around them. This company, German Bionic, actually has been providing back support for heavy lifters for some time. And employees like BMW and IKEA have been wearing earlier versions of C-Ray X. But the new version has assisted walking supports in 2 body regions, and it adds 66 pounds of lifting power. Now that makes sense. In a warehouse, doing lifting all day long takes a real toll on backs. And as people age that are in those types of professions, they don't usually bode well in terms of going into advanced age without some form of pain or without some limitations. So they say that this exoskeleton works by gently pushing the legs forward when the loads need to be moved from and to. It thereby helps reduce premature exhaustion and preserve energy levels of workers conducting tasks involving both lifting and walking. In 2022, they said that users will be able to subscribe to use the exoskeletons for a mere $4.99 per month. Well, it's 2022, so it must be available now. That's $499 per month. Then, under the heading Robots Everywhere, German Bionic isn't the only one making wearable robotic suits. There's Virginia Tech's Assistive Robotic Lab, which designs interfaces between humans and mechanical electrical systems. Lowe's Innovation Labs is another one that has people donning robotic suits in their test labs. And some of these robotic suits are restoring mobility for people who are disabled. By helping people with challenging tasks, the article goes on, wearable robotic suits will make it difficult to distinguish between human and a mechanical workforce. So let's bring up the other image, exoskeleton-2. And here's where I asked AI to render an image of a human with an exoskeleton. And this one looks a little bit more Hollywood than the previous ones that we saw. But this is how AI envisions our bodies eventually having physical strength augmentation. So in Amazon's warehouses, The humanoid robots are doing some lifting, and there's an image there, guys. If you can bring up humanoid robotics or humanoid robots. The question, though, remains, is the human force the ideal shape for the task? Well, the one on the left is more of a humanoid shape. The one on the right is a far more efficient way to handle box movement like this. And this particular one on the right is Amazon's agility robotics humanoid robot called Digit, and it's in beta testing right now. It has to, of course, function and adapt to existing warehouse floor plans. So again, it is environment based around humans. Where we deviate here is in something we talked about in earlier AI podcasts. Robots don't have to be human looking or sized. Take a fruit-picking robot, for example, in a field. That robot needs to be about 30 feet tall so that you don't need ladders, scissor lifts, aerial lifts to get to the top sections of the trees to pick the ripe fruit. A 30-foot robot.
I'll show you another one, too.
Sure.
I forgot to show you this this morning. They're using it to clean houses now. Now the thing I saw on Twitter says they're putting window cleaners out of business.
Oh, yeah, there you go. You need height to do window cleaning. Mm-hmm. We've got a 2-story building here, and
if I can find it.
Some of the tools they use are inefficient as can be. You know, a 20-foot wiping rag on the end of a pole. Well, you have some, logistics issues there trying to control that. And then a squeegee 20, 30 feet away. And then, of course, you get into high rises and you've got a completely different problem. So it looks like Jesse's going to bring up an image for us here. But in the meantime, the humanoid workforce, by the way, and this is the psychological element, which I'm also interested in. How are humans integrating with these humanoid robots? Well, according to Amazon, the human workers are getting to know their robot co-workers as the company begins testing agility robotics Digit in its U.S. warehouses. Now, my question is, do they go outside with the workers on smoke breaks? And if so, what do they do? Do they smoke or do they just hang out and communicate? What about lunch breaks? Well, robots don't need to eat, but there's a social element that goes along with that. In order for them to integrate and be accepted, some of this type of activity might be important. Or the humans may remain standoffish to these threatening humanoid robots that are stronger than them, may take their job at some point. So you know where I'm going with this is we need to keep them humanoid looking and integrate with the human workers. And I'd certainly love you guys to chime in here and, get some inputs as to how you think integration might be more effective with these humanoid robots. So Digit, this 2-legged robot with a suction cup that can walk, lift boxes, and won't come with many of the costs associated with human employees, given that it only costs $10 to $12 an hour to operate. Well, now we're below minimum wage in the state of Arizona. Pretty attractive for employers, maybe. And according to Agility Robotics CEO Damian Shelton, he asks, is Amazon making a mistake by investing in humanoid robots for warehouse tasks? Boston Dynamics, on the other hand, their CTO, Aaron Saunders, told TechCrunch in an interview that while humanoid robots may have great potential in closing the technology gap and will be crucial in the field of general-purpose robotics, the human shape is not always ideal or the ideal form for specific jobs, including moving boxes. I mean, you've seen these humanoid Amazon robots, right, carrying boxes. It's kind of a jerky motion. The legs look like they're bent backwards. It's a thing out of a scary science fiction movie. In fact, there was a movie years ago where the robots did walk with crooked legs like this, and it was pretty scary for my kids at the time.
Yeah, I have the video.
All right, here we go. We got a video popping up. Oh, it's a drone. Okay. Of course, that makes much more sense with a high rise rather than a 400-foot robot.
Yeah, but imagine a swarm of these just going through cities, just cleaning all of everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Instead of that.
Yeah, completely unsafe. Amazing. You know, another application for this would be cleaning solar panels. Some of these large solar farms, dust really degrades the output of these types of, plants, power plants. And these drone robots would be ideal for something like that.
Yep, and all you need is a few dozen of these powered by AI, and they would be able to go through an entire downtown city over the course of a week. And
yeah. Fighting fire just occurred to me as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you just had an example of something like that. Yeah, it looks like technology is on an exponential improvement path.
I think this video is actually a year or two old too, so they're much more sophisticated versions, I'm sure, on the way.
So Instagram, company_NTL says, hello, thanks for joining us. Ramon Hurt says, is that guy wearing the exoskeleton a union worker? Well, now there's a whole new concept. What will happen to labor unions? Will labor unions eventually be represented by robots and have their own unions?
Well, see, that's the problem here.
For collective bargaining, yeah.
Because that's what the writers' strike, they just fought to keep AI out of Hollywood, right?
Right.
So imagine labor unions fighting to keep robots out of the labor. So all this stuff is going to slow progress, in my opinion.
It'll be a noble fight. I'm sure it will occur. And yeah, but it's going to be exciting to watch it all evolve, and while we can sit back and observe it all. Ramon Hurt says a robot would definitely be much cheaper in the long run, without a doubt. Remember, not only is it cheaper, it is also able to work 24/7. There may be a bit of downtime for preventive maintenance, oiling the joints, for example. And it would go to a robot shop, which the robots would eventually even handle that.
Well, they just dispatch another one to replace it. There would be no downtime.
That's true, yeah. Lots of extra robots. Neil says, think robot adoption will be much slower than many think. At centralized places first, but maybe never at small places that require improvisation all the time in changing environments.
You always got to count on Neil's.
Yeah. Well, that's, and of course, being able to afford anything like this. Amazon, clearly has a funded path to convert to robotics, but small business, it's going to be a tough migration. Niels also mentions that drones are good for crime and emergencies. No thief can escape. Good point. And then Van Goatwagon, hey, thanks for joining us. He says, window cleaner, a special breed. They don't squeegee. What's up with that? Yeah, maybe the video didn't complete. All it showed was a wash down. Although
yeah.
They could have used that ionic water like the car dealers do.
Yeah, they could use something that doesn't leave streaks or something.
Yeah. All right. So, again, getting back to is the human-looking robot the most efficient way to provide that level of augmentation? And a number of people chiming in here are saying that no, it is not, but it's definitely more psychologically advantageous because we're able to integrate and allow these things to begin to infiltrate. The Digit design, by the way, is an upright bipedal design which allows it to integrate flawlessly into existing infrastructure at Amazon. And no building permits, they say, power drops, or floor plan changes are required. All right. We've got some other quotes here that we can go into. And let me see, there was one other news item that I wanted to cover. Perplexity AI. We might as well cover a lot of these because next week there will be so much new stuff we won't be able to get to it. Perplexity AI unveils an online large language model that could dethrone Google search. It was actually founded by some former Google AI researchers, a number of them, and its claim to fame is that it will be able to provide up-to-date information with conversational AI chatbot style interface. So in other words, Google's going to talk to you now. You can have a conversation with it. You can talk to it, ask it questions. You can judge its outputs. You can teach it things. So quite a bit different than what we're getting now. And of course, I can't imagine Google's going to sit by and let someone take over that market. So yeah. There actually are some Google enhancements as well, which are later on in this podcast. So let's get to that then. Bear with me a second here. All right. I'm going to give you some examples of how we are utilizing AI in our business. And by the way, we're a small company. The combined revenue is about $30 million a year. We've got 4 operating divisions, 2 call centers, sales call centers, but enough staff to actually find AI augmentation advantageous. The challenge, of course, is how to integrate. Some of the early examples of that are, we were looking at an annoyed video response the other day, and it was on the Lucid delisting. And the thumbnail we used was a thumbnail of myself and my co-presenter, Mark Schaffner, with a big smile on our faces. Well, that was probably a holdover from another podcast we did where glee and happiness was appropriate. In this case, it was not, and he pointed that out, and he says, I would never subscribe to somebody that finds the delisting of a major EV company humorous. So what we did was we used AI to create a response. And, you know, we're pretty good at doing this ourselves, mind you, but we're always tickled and intrigued by what AI can generate. And typically, it's a humbling experience. We have to put our ego aside and then admit it did a better job. And it did in this case, and we used it. Use of AI in our call center. One of the account managers has a customer that creates bid opportunities all the time where they list a bunch of equipment that they need, some part numbers thrown in, and descriptions. What this account manager is using ChatGPT for is feeding that information, that jumbled information, into ChatGPT, extracting the salient points, and then organizing it by part number, description, and anticipated price or whatever else is important. Again, it shortens the process tremendously and speeds things up and makes our sales team more effective and more efficient. Video script writing and research. AI's huge data set reduces our research time exponentially. In fact, one of the items in this podcast this morning was an article about the Optimus 2 second-generation robot with enormous amounts of information. We fed that into ChatGPT, said extract the salient talking points, put that in bullet-type format, and add a little humor to a section. And that's exactly what we ended up with. Again, I could have sat there and spent half the morning generating that, but instead, 20 seconds later, ChatGPT gave me something that was as good, and I will admit, even better than what I would have generated. Graphic artists, no longer required. We typically outsource, logo creation, image creation. These days, we go to DALL-E, ChatGPT-4, or Midjourney, and there are many others, by the way. And with the correct prompt, and that's where the skill is now, you have to become what's called a prompt engineer. You have to understand how AI is going to use the string of words that you're giving it to create the closest thing to what you're looking for. And there's a definite skill there. I'm still learning. And so it will create well-based, constructed type images just from the correct prompt. And again, within seconds.
The other thing, too, remember what I had mentioned to you earlier this morning, which is that you just need to, if you hit a wall trying to come up with a prompt, you can ask it to give you a prompt. Right? Just give it a couple of the elements that you're trying to put into a prompt and say, hey, can you give me a good prompt for this? And then have it prompt itself.
Precisely. It helps you write the prompt that it will understand better to render what you want.
Yep.
And we use that this morning as well. Another brand new news item, breaking news, the merger of OpenAI and Axel Springer.
Yep.
A bit of German in here, and I can certainly help with that. But Jesse, what was your take on this merger?
Yeah, well, hold on one second. I'm trying to get the...
So in other words, what will this do for OpenAI merging with a news organization or a media organization?
Well, what was happening essentially a few months ago, if you remember, ChatGPT back toward the beginning of, the springtime, they had access to the internet, and they were getting around paywalls for all the news organizations, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was a massive issue, so they had to shut that down and figure out a way to kind of put up a wall against that so they didn't get hit with copyright problems from all these news organizations. Well, this German company is a media conglomerate that owns a bunch of media outlets like Politico and a couple of other ones. I don't remember right offhand, but it owns some of the major news organizations. So now those are going to be integrated into ChatGPT. So it's going to have those back. And I would imagine this is only going to be the first of several of these big deals with news organizations to where soon ChatGPT will have full access again to up-to-the-date news information like it had, back before they put the wall up.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, of course, in the earlier discussion, if you were here earlier, AI has the ability now to create commercials, to create a news channel, Channel 1, and with this kind of, in combination with these kinds of sources, this is going to revolutionize news. Nulverse53 is joining us. Thank you. He says, I'd love AI workers to take over fast food restaurants. I'm tired of being treated by grumpy workers. And this is usually where I go into my weekly Starbucks experience, where I point out that 50% of the time they get my order wrong. And I'm looking forward to machines taking my order and processing and making my coffee. And of course, the fact that I go at 6:30 Sunday morning is probably part of the problem, because nobody wants to be up that early or is going to have their full mental faculties trying to do a job like remembering 4 different things. There's a bit of sarcasm there, but anyway. Niels, have you converted and merged your in-house documentation with Tessa Rose? Her pages are working on it. Yes, Niels, we have. Very perceptive. The instant it came out, actually, we had just a few days previously found out that OpenAI was releasing personalized chatbots. And we immediately took advantage of that, fed all of the open source information into that. And what we're now doing, which is a bit more time consuming, is merging all of that information that Tesla generated or released with our knowledge base, which will now augment and expand that. And our technicians, by the way, are already using it. And eventually, the techs will be able to use their cell phone, because remember, ChatGPT-4 now is able to go vocal and accept vocal commands, just like Siri and Alexa.
Mm-hmm.
Neil says, Great Springer is the world's biggest blocker of free access to tax-funded research papers.
Yeah, I mean, that's not going to be you still have to pay for ChatGPT, obviously, but the 180 million users of ChatGPT are going to have full access to their catalog.
Mm-hmm. Good point. All right. The rest of what I have here is quotes. And we can do those anytime. What did Elon say? What did Hawking say? But anyway, It looks like we're running out of time. We've run an hour. We really appreciate all of you joining us. We're really excited about AI because it is evolving so rapidly that there's a new exciting twist and turn around every corner. And for those of you that like high tech, this is like a smorgasbord of new advances and technologies. So again, these podcasts are aired Wednesday mornings, 10 a.m., We appreciate everyone that joins us and participates. And we will be posting this on our YouTube channel under Gruber Motors. So for any of you that may have missed the portion or would like to review, please feel free to do so on our YouTube channel. Oh, and as always, and subscribe and hit the like button. Thank you for joining us.